Hello, my name is Yolanda Mackey. I am sharing a little bit about my project, The Black Renaissance and the Radical Politics of Black Print Culture, 1915 to 1945. I first started working on this project in 2020 amid racial strife and the onset of a global pandemic. The Black Lives Matter movement protests spread around the world seeking justice for Eric Gardner, Sandra Bland, and countless others, and it's what deeply motivates this project. As we discuss the inherent value of literature in our self-organized reading groups in New York to make sense of our current political moment and our aims for social reform, I noticed that our reading list did not include a single author from the Harlem Renaissance. For me, this raised an important question. Why did the Harlem Renaissance, a 20th century golden age of Black culture, literature, radical politics, not seem immediately relevant to our reading group at a time of racial and political distress that we were all collectively experiencing? What I realized is that even with all the scholarly and cultural work on the Harlem Renaissance and its ongoing significance in the cultural and literary legacy, the legacy of its radical politics has been overlooked. While I started the project alongside the BLM movement, I'm completing it now alongside a wave of centennial celebrations of the Harlem Renaissance, a timing that insists even more that we re-engage the legacy of the Harlem Renaissance political dimensions alongside its cultural and literary legacy. So again, this is deeply motivated by the BLM movement. So my project considers how cultural producers involved in the Black social movement known as the Harlem Renaissance utilize literature and literary production as a vehicle to invoke political action, seek racial justice, and advocate for social reform. As a social history of the Harlem Renaissance, this project highlights the radical politics of the Black print culture during the critical years of 1915 to 1945. It foregrounds the gender, economic, and political dynamics of Black publishing by exposing the often androcentric networks and recenters Black women's intellectual labor by turning to the expansiveness of their work and through the attention to diasporic networks. In it, I offer a new perspective on the ways that Black creatives navigated the publishing industry during a time of efflorescence and contraction by foregrounding the financial dimensions of publishing, the significance of diasporic networking, and the influence of radical politics on their work on and beyond the page. My critical archival methodology has shown me that as the literature of this period employed an increasingly radical politics, the financial backing for this work all but disappeared. So by turning to the rejected or posthumously published literature and by centering Black women's intellectual labor, I argue that Black creatives responded to the conditions and exclusions of publishing during this era by developing alternative means to circulate their work and ideas. This included curating private readerships, building strategic alliances, founding and editing literary magazines, and engaging in politics of radical organizing. And so by attending to this tension between Black radical politics and print culture, I demonstrate the innovative measures that Black cultural producers took to share their work with public audiences. And by using Black Renaissance in the title, I aim to gesture towards a more expansive view of the Harlem Renaissance to include a longer genealogy of Black political thought and make its diasporic reach more visible. So this project turns to key moments to offer a layout again of these androcentric publishing networks that Black authors navigated that created challenges for even the most canonical authors. Here is Claude McKay's British passport that is referenced in the project, and he's one of the canonical authors explored that navigated the publishing industry's politics of exclusion when it came time to support novels that explored Black radical politics. The study also considers the innovative measures that Black cultural producers, especially Black women, took as editors to platform Black voices. It shows that Dorothy West, Jessie Fawcett, and Paulette Nardell, pictured here, established a platform for intergenerational and diasporic discourse on matters of racial identity and solidarity efforts. Collectively, my project reveals the cultural dynamics at play that shaped the way we have understood the Harlem Renaissance and the laden radical politics of the time. So here are images of the issue of Challenge that was edited by Dorothy West. The Crisis, where Jessie Fawcett was the literary editor. And La Revue, where Paulette Nordau was one of the founders and translators and editors. So I want to offer just a few key takeaways. The study provides what I see as 4 significant interventions that expand and challenge our understanding of the Harlem Renaissance. First, it brings attention to the economic factors and challenges Black authors experience trying to publish writing that engage with radical politics, and the alternative ways they circulated their work privately and beyond the restraints of conventional book publishing and journal editing. Second, this project joins the work of foregrounding Black women flavor of this movement that has taken on a masculinist cast. It documents the expansive nature of Black women's intellectual contributions and their vision for a diasporic Blackness to be recorded and disseminated widely. Third, it demonstrates how posthumously published works reveal a more radical and politically engaged version of the Harlem Renaissance. And finally, this research brings together what I see as compelling evidence to rethink our periodization and naming conventions and what constitutes Black archives. So, if you are on Penn State's campus, I hope that you will visit my exhibit on this research that builds on this research from my dissertation, and it's currently on display on the 2nd floor of the Petit Library. And thank you for your time.